This is the savvy customer. This is a space where customer can learn more on how to become more effective, how to make better decisions when buying products and services based on science-based evidences. In this space, we will provide you with a lot of tips on how to become a better customer and a better consumer, how to avoid being manipulated by companies. Most of the spaces related to marketing are oriented to companies on how to develop better strategy, how to sell more, how to promote their products. This space is focused on customers. It's trying to educate customers to enhance their natural knowledge so that they can make the best decision possible. I'm Dr. Bruno Cignacco. I'm a university professor, researcher, author, and international marketing advisor. I have been teaching marketing module for more than 30 years, and also I have taught consumer behavior modules for many years. I hope that my experience and my background in marketing can be of value for customers. Let's talk about first on the difference between consumers and customers. What is the difference between consumer and customer? Many people use these terms with the same meaning. Customers, let's put this clearly, customers are the one buying a product or a service. We call this also buyers. Customer and buyers are synonyms. So this means that they have the same meaning. Consumer, on the other side, we're talking about people that use a product or a service. Now, customers and consumers, let's imagine a situation when the customer and the consumer is the same person. You are buying a product for yourself. You are buying a new mobile phone. In this case, you are the buyer or customer, the one that purchased this product, and the consumer, the one that will be enjoying, using, obtaining the benefit from this product. This is quite important because in some cases companies try to promote their products to customers, and in other cases companies are trying to promote their products to consumers. Now let's imagine a different situation where the customer is not the same person as the consumer. How this can happen? Well, in practice, let's imagine that you're going to a shop and you are buying a product for your friend. Your friend has a very important party and you want to take a very nice gift for her. So in this case, you are the customer, this means the one buying the product, and your friend is the consumer, the one that will be enjoying this product. This is quite relevant. And what is the importance of customer behavior, also called consumer behavior, depending on the specialist, that you have to understand what are the different phases or stages that customers go through before they buy the product, during the buying process, and after the purchase. So we will talk about this later, but let's talk about customers. Customers are the one buying a product. Could be current customer, this means they are currently buying a product, or could be potential customer. This means that they are willing to buy a product, but they're not currently buying this product. Companies are very interested in satisfying customer needs. Why? Because when customers buy products from a company, this company sells these products. This company, by selling, deducting the cost, will have a profit if the product is profitable, and obviously this will sustain and will make this business grow. If customers do not buy a product, this company won't have sales, and this sale might go down if many customers do not buy from this company, and in practice this will take the company into a very risky situation, in some cases taking the company completely out of business. So customers have power, they have purchasing power. This means that they have the money or financing that will provide this company with, and this company in exchange will provide this customer with a a product or a service. So this is quite relevant because customers have two main elements. They are willing to purchase a product. This means that they are motivated to purchase this product. In further episode, we will talk about the motivation of customer behavior, but customers are always motivated. They have different needs that drive them to buy a product or a service. So willingness to buy a product or a service. And the second point is a very important one that is not a minor one, purchasing power. So this means that they have the money or the finance to be exchanged with the company, and the company providing this customer with a product or service. So quite important, because in many cases people use these two terms interchangeably, and this is wrong. We have to put this clearly. Why so important? Because as we mentioned, customer and consumer could be separate people, and also companies can approach customers in many cases with their promotional strategies, for example, advertising, sell promotion, buy one get one free, or they can focus more on consumers. So this is quite relevant. And then we have to understand that we are all customers. We're continually engaged in exchanges with companies, where companies provide us with services and products, and we are providing them with money, or we are being supported by financing to purchase this product or services. Now, customer in practice can have different type of names. For example, they can have names such as patient. For example, if you go to a hospital, you are the customer. In this case, this customer has a specific name we call patient. If you, for example, buy a ticket, a flight ticket, and for this airline, you will be the passenger, but you're still a customer. So this means that you bought the flight ticket, and this specific type of customer will be called, for example, a passenger. If you're a student, for example, and you're going to university, you're attending a course, in this case, the student is the name given to these specific customers. So quite important, and we can go on and on. For example, for professional services like attorney services, accounting services, the customer has a specific name called client. Quite relevant. Now, why is so important to talk about customers and companies? Because at the end, they are the ones sustaining any economy worldwide. So without customer and company, the world economy will collapse. So, but the power is in the hand of customers. Many customers do not understand this, and in some cases they are besieged by companies that use manipulative strategies, for example, with false information, false advertising, uh, false promotion strategies. So, and these customers believe that they do not have any right to claim for a fair exchange. And let's talk about the concept of exchange, that is very important in marketing and quite frequently misunderstood. What is exchange? Well, exchange is an interaction between a company and a customer, and this interaction is very simple. The company provides customer with something of value, then we will define value, and customer will provide the company with something of value. So this means that they are both exchanging value. This is quite relevant because this exchange between customers and companies should always be fair. Fair means that the company should not win at the expense of customers, but customer on the other side should not win at the expense of companies. When this happens, when there is a fair exchange, this relationship created between the company and customer is more prone to thrive. When there is no fair exchange, for example, the company is obtaining all the wins at the expense of customer. For example, the company is selling a very expensive product, but the product is low quality, shoddy. In this case, the customer is paying for this product, is using their money to pay for this product, spending their money on this product, and is not obtaining benefits from this product because it's low quality, might break down very easily. So this is quite relevant. So the exchange should be fair. And what they are exchanging? Well, we saw the company is providing customers with products and services. Products are tangible items, for example, a book, for example, a piece of furniture, and services are intangible by nature, cannot be seen, cannot be touched, cannot be perceived by senses. So this is quite relevant because then we will see the differences between products and services from the viewpoint of customer. How customers should act differently when buying products and services. So the company in this exchange is provided with products and services. And the customer is providing with specific funds or financing. For example, the customer will have, for example, a financing line that will help him or her buy this product or service. This is quite relevant because uh, this exchange, as we mentioned, should be fair, but also customer, what else are they providing with? They're providing, if they like the product, they're providing with potential loyalty, potential commitment. But also, if the customer is satisfied or delighted, and then we will see the difference between satisfaction and delight, this customer is prone to leave positive reviews, what will help this company promote their product more efficiently. Why? Because this will be promoted not by the company advertising campaigns or promotion campaigns, but will be promoted through the customer, which make this promotion more credible. We call this word of mouth. This review that you see online, and in some cases offline, for example in magazines, these are a specific recommendation or comment or from customers that could be positive or negative. And when the reviews are positive, this review can help companies sell more product, more services, attract more customers. When the reviews are negative, which means that they have a lot of power, this company is more prone to sell less of these products. So this is quite relevant. And the company also is providing with what? With assistance throughout the process. We saw the customer go through different phases that we haven't analyzed in detail yet, but customer go through pre-purchase process or stage, the purchase process or purchase stage, and the post-purchase process. In this case, we will see that the company can provide customers or potential customers with a lot of assistance. For example, information, can provide customer with samples, can provide a customer with catalogs, can provide customer, for example, with some product for them to try or to test, or can also provide with some free demonstration of the product. So this is important pieces of information that customer can benefit from. Why? Because in practice, when companies are providing with this type of information, they are to assist customers. They are to assist customers. However, you see many companies that are using this type of assistance in the wrong way. They are trying to mislead the customer. They're trying to cajole or manipulate customer. For example, providing with untruthful information, false information, fake information. So, and this will affect customer decisions in a negative way. So this exchange should be fair. This is quite important. So this means that customers should look for exchanges that should be always fair. First tip, if the exchange is not fair, the customer should not be engaged in this relationship with the company. If they feel that this company have been manipulated them, customers, the company have controlled this customer should stand for their rights and should leave the relationship. In some cases, for example, when they receive a product that is faulty or low quality, they can return the product or ask for a refund or claim for their rights. Very, very important because customers, as we saw, have the power. Companies' sales in most cases are driven by customer purchases. If customers do not make any purchase, this company will go down. So companies already know this and will be very cautious when interacting with customers. So this is a very important point. The second point that I want to highlight is the difference between products and services. Many will say, oh, they look the same. Well, obviously you purchase product, you purchase services, but as we saw, products are tangible items. You can touch, you can perceive by senses. For example, a book, like for a print magazine, for example, a microphone for your computer, and services are intangible by nature, cannot be perceived by senses. Many economies, especially more developed economies, are focused on service. Most of their economy, these economies are sustained by services. For example, services could be banking services, insurance services, also could be professional services like attorney services, accounting services, could be transport services, could be tourism services, accommodation services. So you have countless services. Now, what is the difficulty between buying a product that you can see between buying a product and buying a service? What are the differences? Well, the main difficulty is that when you buy products, you can see the product, you can see the picture. Supposing that you buy online, you cannot see the product, but you can see the picture. If you go to the shop, you can touch the product. You can see videos on how the product is used. This is quite important. However, services are intangible by nature. So this means that you cannot see the service. You can see some images about the service. For example, if you want to book a hotel to go on holiday, well, you will see some picture of the hotel. But until you are there in the room, you cannot really see or feel this characteristic of this service. Instead, when you buy a product, maybe online or offline, so offline you go to the shop, you see the quality, you touch the product, you see the colors and so on. And you can also ask for more detail about the specification of this product. But in the case of, and also when you buy a product, supposing that it's faulty, you can return, you can ask for a refund for this product. However, services cannot be seen. Companies use what we call in marketing visual evidence, or in some cases, sensory evidence. Some images, for example, of the rooms, as we mentioned for a hotel, or for example, if you want to book a plane, you might see the airplanes. So, and you will see obviously that is a very nice airplane, but in practice you cannot see the service. Why is so important? Because by being intangible, these services are difficult to try. So this means that you cannot try until you buy the service, until you purchase the service. So supposing that you go to a hotel that you book online, until you are in the room, you cannot really know this room is suitable for you. Why? Because, and supposing that it's a wrong room and it's too small, or it's not spacious, or it's a kind of smelly room, stinky room. So well, you're already there in the room. You can ask, for example, that they can change the room for you and they might take this into account or not. But you cannot return this accommodation service as you can do, for example, with the book. You bought a book and you can return the book if you don't like the book. So this is quite important. Non-triability, we call in marketing, means that you cannot try this product until you are really enjoying the benefits of this service. So for services, there is no triability, but also services are kind of heterogeneous, means the levels of quality vary over time. This means that it's more difficult as compared with products to sustain a uniform level of quality. Why this is so important? Because in practice, when you buy products, you always know that they have the same quality. You buy a book, let's say the Art of War, and you buy from the same publisher, and you buy a second copy, will be exactly the same book with the same number of pages, the same cover, and so on. Very important. So this means that you always expect product to have the same quality when you're talking about buying different units of the product. However, services, let's talk about, for example, hairdressing service. You go to the hairdresser and you go always to the same hairdresser because many services are person based or delivered by people. This means that you have people delivering these services. These people will have different mood that can vary from day to day. And in some cases, this service can be delivered by different people with different background, different qualification, different experiences. So this means that if you go to the hairdresser 1 month to cut your hair, and then, well, you have the hairdresser that is well qualified, you know this person well, might cut the hair in a very nice way, but then you go the second month and you will find a completely different hairdresser, means could be an apprentice, could be an employee, another colleague working for this company, for this hairdresser. And so in practice, this second person might deliver a completely different service. Maybe that your haircut might not be the same level as compared with the haircut in the same situation. So this is quite important. So what we can do about services? What we can do about services, we can do a lot. What we can do is try to read reviews. Reviews in marketing are more important for services than for products. I repeat, reviews are more interesting and more important for customers in the case of services as compared with products, because products, as we saw, we can return product, we can obtain a refund, we can ask for a product replacement. We cannot do this with services. So this means that in this case we need to read what other customers said about this. So the reviews of other customers that went to, for example, the same hotel, stay in similar rooms, what did they say about this? Was their experience positive or negative? So this is quite relevant. It was negative. Well, what are the weak points? What are the weaknesses of this company when providing these services? We have to bear this in mind. In general, there will be a combination of positive and negative reviews, but it's important to bear in mind that services imply, from the customer perspective, a higher risk. Higher risk. Why? Because you are taking the risk of this service being completely inappropriate for you and in practice might not be suitable at all. By reading the reviews, you will have some clues, some guidance, free guidance on how previous customers navigated this type of situation. A very important topic that I want to highlight too is the concept of value. What is value? Value. Many people talk about good value for money. This is good value for money. This is a nice product. It's worth it. Good value for money. Value is a very important concept in marketing, but I want to analyze it from the customer perspective. So companies always aim to provide customer with value. They try to add value to customers, add value to customer whenever possible with their products and services. Value in marketing include many items or components or elements. Value implies that the product offer customer a high amount of benefits. So this means that when the product include a high amount of benefits, this means customer is benefited in different ways with this product or services. For example, making their life easier, making their uh, lives much more economic, also making things faster and so on. So in this case, this company is providing value, adding more benefits through their products that they are selling to customers. So, but also value implies also is related to cost. So this means when the company offer a lot of benefits in relation to the costs that this customer perceive that the product has, this is quite important because there is a positive relation, more benefit than costs. When there is a positive relationship between benefits, this means more benefit, and costs, from the customer perspective, this customer is more prone to feel that they are satisfied with this product. This is quite relevant. Instead, when there is a negative relationship between benefit and costs, for example, they have this product from the viewpoint of customer have higher costs as compared with the benefit that they can obtain, this product has low value. So as a customer, you want to make sure that the product is providing with high value. High value means more benefits than costs. Now, the concept of value is always perceived. This means that it's perceived by customer. This will vary from customer to customer. So this means that what is a product of value for me might not be a product for value for another customer. So this means that we are unique human beings, unique people, and each one has their own preferences, their own needs, their distinctive expectations. So we have to understand that products do not have a uniform value for all customers. They have different perceived value for different customers. And so this is quite important. So customers should always analyze this when making any purchase. Does this product offer a positive relationship between benefits and costs? So this is quite important. This means more benefit than cost. So, and another point, cost is not only the money that they're spending. For example, customer might spend a lot of money or little money, but also cost is also the cost of time. Cost of time implies a very important cost that, for example, many customers will prefer to buy online because they do not have to go to the shop. They don't have to take their time to get ready to go to a shop and take the bus or the train to go to the shop or go with the car. Uh, but they buy online from the comfort of their house. So this is a very important cost that is reduced. When you buy online, you don't have the cost of time. You can purchase the product very easily with a few clicks. So this is everything is available online. So, but also the cost include not only money spent by customer, but also the specific time spent by customer, but also the risk involved with this purchase. So when we reduce the cost, customer might perceive that this product has higher value. And when we increase the benefits, also customer is more prone to perceive that this product has higher value. So companies, you as a customer, you have to understand this. You as a customer have to perceive this clearly. When companies try to sell you a product or a service, they're trying to offer you more benefits in many cases as compared with the cost. For example, more benefit could be supposing that you buy a product, you buy shampoo, and they give you another bottle free. Well, this is the same cost. You pay for one shampoo bottle of shampoo, but then they give you additional benefit. They give you one bottle free. Or it could be reducing the cost. In some cases, you see during the sale period, they reduce the cost. You have a discount of 50-70% for items of clothing. So in this case, you have reduction of cost. We saw companies selling online also reduce the cost of related to this customer, the cost of time. Customers spend very little time purchasing online, save a lot of time for them. And also the last component of cost is risk. Customers, when being engaged in any exchange, they are trying to, in practice, take as little risk as possible. What are the potential risks that customer can be engaged when exchanging their value, means their money, with the value provided by companies, products and services? Well, there are four types of risks that customer can take. The first risk is, will this product be suitable for me? Will this satisfy my needs? Will I be happy with this product? Will I be satisfied? Will I feel exhilarated or at peace when I bought this product? This is what we call the emotional risk. How do I feel after I bought the product or service? Companies try to reduce this emotional risk when exchanging their products with customers in very simple ways. For example, providing customers a lot of information that they can make well-informed decisions on how to buy the right product for them. But in many cases, customers might feel that this was the wrong product. They might feel regretful. They might feel angry because they feel that this company manipulated them. Well, this is when the risk is going higher. You realize that you made the wrong purchase. This is a concept of emotional risk. So companies try to reduce this emotional risk. Then you have the functional risk. Functional risk implies that you are talking about, will the product comply with all the specification, and will the product deliver all the benefits that were promised by the company? For example, if you bought a product that was high quality and this product break down very easily, this product didn't meet the expectation of customer regarding functional risk. So this means that company also try to make sure that they are clearly, in this way, they are clearly making products that are durable, sturdy, and suitable for the quality levels, their quality levels. Then you have also what we call self-esteem risk. Will this product be suitable for me? Will they make me look good? Will this make me look much better, more attractive, much wiser in the eyes, in my own eyes, but also in the eyes of people, what we call the fourth type of risk, societal risk. Will I feel better? Will my self-esteem go up when I buy this product? Because I feel better, I feel much more at ease, I feel more empowered. But also, will other people see me with better eyes when I buy this product? Or will they disagree with me because of having bought this product? So this means that the four types of risks are functional risk, that is about the specification, the quality, the design. Is this product safe, secure, delivering the benefits? Emotional risk means how customers feel. Do they feel satisfied or do they feel regretful? Do they feel angry or do they feel so exhilarated that they want to recommend this product to others? Then you have self-esteem risk and also what we call societal risk. How do I see myself after having bought this product? I see in a better way, more positive way, and how other people see me, because we are social beings. We are also very reliant on other people's opinion, views, recommendation. So this is quite relevant, and I want to finalize this episode with very few tips for you to take into account, um, and these are very important. First off, let's always understand that customers have the power. Customers are empowered to make the best decision. Companies know this. Customers should not remain in a relationship with a company where they feel that this relationship is unfair. The company is obtaining all the wins at the expense of customer. Customer is not obtaining benefits, but on the contrary, this company is bringing customers lot of complications, lot of problems. They're not adding value. So this is quite important because when you stand up for your right, you are creating positive ripple effect that can bring about much more awareness in the marketplace, and companies, especially manipulative companies, might not get away with their catch-all strategies. But it's important to understand that services and products are different. Services imply that they are intangible by nature and you cannot try them in advance. And in some cases, the quality levels could be heterogeneous, vary over time. For the reason it's important to follow and take into account uh, reviews online, what we call word of mouth. These reviews provide customers, the one that buying services especially, with a lot of valuable information about previous customers. Were they satisfied? Were there any problems? What were these problems about? So very important, because by reading these reviews and analyzing them carefully, especially in the case of services, you are less likely to make mistakes. So you can test this service in a figurative way in advance by reading other people's experiences. Very important for professional services, for example, like lawyers or accounting services. In some cases, you can ask to your close circle. In some cases, it will be recommendation from people around you that can provide you with some advice. So they can talk about their previous experiences with these service providers. So this is quite relevant. We commented about the concept of value. You should always, as a customer, buy products that provide you with value. You should avoid buying products that do not provide you with value. What do I mean by value? Offering you more benefits. Benefits means you get some advantages of buying these products. You get things faster, much easier. You can get things in a much more practical way or economic way. Positive relationship between benefits and cost. And we saw cost doesn't include only the money spent by you. This means how much you spend for this product, but also the cost of time. Does buying the product in this specific way save me time, or make it a very costly product in the terms of time, in relation to time? And also the third aspect of this equation, that is the equation of value, benefits in relation to cost. This equation include also in the little part of cost, include risk. How risky is to buy this product? Uh, how much risk do I have to take to buy this product? In this case, you will observe that some products are riskier than others. For example, if you are buying a house, for example, this is what we call high involvement purchase. High involvement purchase implies that you are investing much more money, much more time. You have a longer decision making process as compared with low involvement process Or, for example, buying a cup of coffee, a cappuccino at the bar. Well, this is a low involvement product. So again, we saw that you have different type of risk. You have functional risk. This means, will this product meet my uh, requirements, but also the requirements set up by the company? Will this be suitable? Will this break down? But also emotional risk. Will I feel satisfied? Will I experience positive emotion, or will at least reduce my negative emotions? But also in some cases, products provide with emotional state that are much more subtle. When you buy insurance, life insurance, you are not buying this to feel better, but you're buying this to feel much more at peace, especially when you want some coverage for your relatives or your close circle. Then you have also two additional risks that are self-esteem risk. Self-esteem risk means, how do I feel about this product in relation to my self-esteem? Does this enhance my self-esteem? Does it make me feel that I'm much more positive, much better with myself? Um, do I like myself more because I'm consuming this product or not? And also societal risk mean, when I buy this product, will I be accepted by my friends, by my family, by my partner, or will I be rejected by them? So take into account this aspect when analyzing any product or service that you want to buy. I hope that you like this video. You can check some links below. We will have other episodes on topics that are important, such as customer motivation, uh, companies manipulation strategies, and others that will be of very important interest for you. I hope to see you soon. I hope that you enjoy all these insightful comments. See you soon. Thank you.